Well, it's that time of the week again for Freddy's power rankings for both the players and the teams. Just one round to go, and Brad Fittler is alongside me in the big studio. Hello, Freddie.
James.
Let's rip into it.
Let's go. Power. It's all about power.
It certainly is. Speaking of which, didn't the Bulldogs have some and more against the Dragons at Cogger on Sunday afternoon? They stay in 10th spot in your power rankings, Bradley.
Yeah, they're playing pretty good at the moment. A real team performance. Lachlan Lewis, beautiful kick for one of the Morris boys. They're outstanding. I noticed in the warm-up, just the look in their eyes, you know, there's something, a real purpose about them at the moment. Remus Smith, that was the second of his 3 tries. And it just never relented the whole game. On the other hand, the Dragons, not fantastic, I must say, but, you know, they're against a pretty willing Canterbury team. They've got a few things they've got to sort out, the Dragons, and one is the scoreline. Quite unbelievable, 38-0.
It was ugly and a bit of a surprise to see the Bulldogs doing the damage that they did. Let's continue up those power rankings. Another team that stays inside them, the Raiders, 9th last week, and there again on the back of another impressive weekend.
Yep.
The Dragons, a little slide, and haven't they been sliding from 5th down to 8th after that flogging from the Doggies? The Panthers have jumped a spot from 8th up to 7th, despite their tough trip across the ditch, and it was the team that beat them that sits ahead of them too, from 7th to 6th, the New Zealand Warriors. But the team moving from 6 to 5, the Brisbane Broncos, who are desperate to try and get themselves in that top 4. What a win this one was on Saturday night against the Roosters.
Yeah, we talk about the power rankings, they're just too powerful. Up against a team that we sort of think about, you know, a team that surges at you and is clinical. They just were absolutely brilliant across the park. He's timed his run perfect, Wayne Bennett. Can they come from the bottom 4? I don't think so. Winning 4 games is a big ask. But everything they did across the park. Darius Boyd was brilliant. Corey Oates was great. The halves played their role. Their kicking game was awesome. They're just across the park. They were just power.
Yeah, while the old Wayne's got them humming at the moment, the Brisbane Broncos.
It's all a sham, the whole coaching thing.
Totally.
It's the best sham
Wouldn't
ever.
surprise me one bit. Let's continue up the power rankings from Freddy's teams. From the Broncos in 5th, it's the Rabbitohs slipping from 3rd to 4th after their 3rd straight loss. Another team going through a rough patch at the moment. Back-to-back loss, seeing the Roosters go from 1st to 3rd. But in 2nd, big jump, couple of places. The Cronulla Sharks, they've been the quiet achievers for a while, but it's very much loud now after putting on 38 points against the Knights, are in 2nd, Brad.
Well, they're a bit like Melbourne, where even the games they look like they haven't played that well, they're winning, and that's a lot to do with the experience of the team and, you know, just that attitude of, you know, whether you call it a little arrogant attitude or just the confidence. And no better shown than by their fullback Valentine Holmes. He's been in absolutely scintillating form. But they just win the games they have to, and they've got themselves in a nice position. They're in the top 4 now. They're looking after their own destiny. It looks like, I think they'll play Melbourne in the first game. They have a pretty good record against Melbourne down there. They beat them this year down there, so I don't think that would faze them too much. They're in a good position, the Sharks. Well,
speaking of the Storm, they are the team that's moved from 2 to 1 in Freddy's power ranking. So it's the 2016 grand finalists in 1 and 2. Are they your grand finalists at the moment, going on form, Brad?
Well, it makes it hard, I think, because they play each other the first. I'm not really sure of the semi-final setup, so...
Well, that would give them a clear... So the losing team actually would end up being them in the grand final.
For instance, whoever lost there would end up playing on the Roosters side.
Yep.
Wow, well, there you go.
Look out. OK, there's Freddy's power rankings for teams. Let's have a look at the players kicking things off. In number 10 spot, Jason Taumalolo, after the Cowboys' big win in Townsville over the Eagles. He's jumped into the 10. So too has Darius Boyd from the Brisbane Broncos into 9th spot. But someone I'm looking forward to hearing Brad's thoughts on. From the Bulldogs, after that thumping of the Dragons, Remus Smith smoking Matt Duffy not once, but twice at Cogger, Brad.
Yeah, I was talking about that. I said, what were you thinking when you come through? He said, I wanted to goosey him. He said, the moment I got through, I just pinned my ears back. And that was the impressive part. He just didn't look at Matt Duffy again. I spoke to Matt Shervington, actually, yesterday at Gosford, and he's the sprint coach at Canterbury. And he doesn't say necessarily they coach so much the long sprints, but he said Remus Smith is very impressive. The way he changed hands then was incredible. And look at the way he hits the hole here. That is a team that is in sync. And once he found some space, comes off the right foot this time, and then just powers his way. Doesn't look like he's moving as fast because he's so tall. You know, you look at Matt Duffy, he looks like he's flying. He's just got those the little mini bike.
20 centimetres and 20 kilos on Matt Duffy, but it didn't look like it.
Actually, Matt Shervington was telling me yesterday that a step by Usain Bolt in a sprint over 100, one step is 3 metres. And we marched out 3 metres. It's a long way. It's me to the camera. You can't tell that. It's a long way.
It's a long way.
It's quite interesting.
Quite ridiculous. All right, let's continue up those player power rankings before we digress too much more into the body and form of Usain Bolt. Sitting in 7th, Lachlan Lewis. He's been in your 10 last week and he slipped a couple of spots, but part of that winning team for Canterbury on Sunday. Ahead of him, he's jumped into the 10 from the Warriors after Friday's triumph over the Panthers, Shaun Johnson.
He does it well, Shaun Johnson. Have a look at this pass. Over the top. No one has made sport look better than Shaun Johnson. In and away, show and go. Just the grace in which he moves. There's a little goose step of his own. Flicks it back inside to Fusatua, scores a try. Here it is again. Look at the show and go. Look at the grace and balance. When he's going slow, he's going fast. He sort of slowed up then to get his tempo right, and then just tosses the ball back into Fusatua, who's been following him for a couple of years now. He's quite spectacular.
Are they a chance, Bradley?
And then the goal kick. I don't know. It'd be interesting how they go against Canberra, who seem to have found a bit of form.
Yep.
That'd be a really good sign if they can put a convincing win against them.
All right, let's continue up those player power rankings. Jumping into Freddy's top 5 now. AJ Brimson from the Gold Coast Titans, moving up from 7th. Ahead of him, though, a player that has slipped just a spot.
Do you reckon his name would just end up being AJ?
It has to be.
Right.
Alexander just doesn't sound right.
Let's just call him AJ.
AJ,
let's take the Brimson off too.
Turbo Tommy, he slipped a spot, but he's still in your 10, in 4th at the moment. Ahead of him, Corey Oates, who's jumped a spot on the back of the Broncos. Good form of late. And the man of the moment at the Melbourne Storm, and he could be anywhere beyond next season, Cameron Munster's jumped from 6 to 2.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, Cameron Munster. There's something in the second half. They were trying hard, Melbourne, the first half even, but I've got to say that the defence of the Titans was really willing until this stage. Cameron Munster just teased the defence until he found the player, LG, found the weakness, found something, and then just accelerated, threw a dummy, accelerated. Didn't even have to palm, really. Just use his speed and balance and found a way through the line. He's a good player, and they just made it. Once again, they just found a result. And, you know, him and Cameron, they just, I don't know, it's incredible how they do it. I think, you know, between them and the Sharks, they've only got that knack at the moment where they're winning those games, those close ones, and just finding a way. But a lot's to do with Cam Munster. All
right, the moment we've been waiting for. Who is Freddie's #1 player with just one round to go in the National Rugby League? And it should be no surprise on the back of their great win on Sunday over the Knights. He was awesome. Valentine Holmes stays in the #1 spot. Where is he going to end up? There's so much talk about his future beyond next year, Brad, that he might be heading back to Townsville.
Well, I know they've just put someone in charge of their recruiting. Peter Parr, he was their manager in the Origin team. I think he's aware that they're now going to lose Thurston. Scott's going to go, so they need to get some identity. I know Cameron Munster's been spotted as well. Also, Valentine Holmes. They need some superstars there. So I'd be chasing him heavy. He's from that area.
There's a big offer on the table from the Sharks and he hasn't accepted it yet. So speculation will continue. Thank you, Bradley.
Thank you.
Freddie's power rankings for both the players and the teams after 24 rounds and just 1 to go.